Oh, you know why, Jeff? We have to,
They already did that. Oh, I didn't do this then. So-
it has to turn on. Once that, come on. There we go. So that's how it is. There we go. Now we're on.
All right, thanks. All right.
There we go.
All right. So I'd like to call to order the program committee meeting. It is about 2:02 p.m. on the 7th of March. An executive session was not conducted. And I would ask everyone to stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Mummer, could you please take attendance?
Mr. Beard,
Here.
Mr. Galanzella, Mr. Gelsinger.
Here.
Mr. Lighty. Here. 3 present, 1 absent.
There are no persons here who have requested to address the board. And so that brings us to number 6, the calendar discussion. The purpose of this program committee meeting was to discuss and land upon a final version of the 25-26 and the 26-27 school year calendars. Specifically, the reason this meeting is being held is because we had an adjustment to the calendars, and at our last planning meeting, when those revisions to the calendar were up for adoption, we did have one administrator, Ms. Broadbeck, brought forth to the board a suggestion that if we make some adjustments to the calendar, it would be much better for the Link Crew event in order to help introduce ninth graders to the high school and their teachers, especially in light of the current high school renovation. And so that's why we're here today, in order to discuss different options and land upon a final version that this committee will recommend to the entire board.
So what I've done is I've projected, this is the 25-26 calendar that reflects revisions that were brought forward at the previous meeting. I'm going to call your attention to the month of August. I have it projected, and I'll use a pointer for people at home so they can see it. Right now, under this calendar, you'll see that the first day of school is August 18th. As Mr. Beard mentioned, Ms. Broadbeck had come forward and asked that this day be considered a day where students do not attend or attend virtually, so that the ninth graders and students in sixth grade web could attend their beginning of the year Link Crew and where everyone belongs at the middle school. Recommendation originally was, if that was the first day of school, the 15th would be the day that that web and Link Crew would take place. There were some concerns about students traveling. So what we've come up with is, if the 18th now becomes the Link Crew day, and the first day of school moves until August 19th. What that does is, on the bottom of the calendar, you'll note under each calendar month, you'll see a total of days. The first month, you'll see that there's 13 teacher days, 10 student days, and then they're cumulative. So when you get to June, you'll see that there's 191 teacher days in the year and 182 student days. 191 days. The 182 days is a little bit flexible because we do exceed the 180. However, it's really 181 for each student, because this day of the 24th does not count as a day for students in elementary school because of parent-teacher conferences. And January 9th does not count as a day for students in middle school and high school, because that is also a day where they don't report but teachers do. So that actual total down the bottom would be 180 for each group. So with that all being said, the recommendation that we could come forward is if we take this day and make that the link crew day, that day's fine. We have to find another day because that would drop the teacher total to 190. So we have two options. We have changing October 13th, which right now is a day off for students and staff. Offices are open. We could change that day to a day where students are off and teachers have an in-service day, so they would report. The other option would be to take away December 1st as a snow day, makeup day. Students would still be off, but teachers would report for an in-service on that day. So these 2 days, there is an option to convert those from a day off to an in-service day for staff. Everything else would remain the same. We would still meet the number of days that are required under state law, and we would meet the contractual days by taking this day and making it an in-service day, or December 1st and making it an in-service day. Everything else seems to be in alignment with what we've had in previous years' calendars, and honestly, we haven't heard any feedback that would be contrary to being positive.
Thank you, Dr. Burkhart.
So, sorry, did you want to? I just want to clarify and simplify that. We are not adding a day for the kids. We need to add a day for teachers to get their contract days.
That is correct, yes.
So of the two options that you've given, I don't know that I like October because I like that there's a day off in every month, and I think our teachers appreciate that. But so which leads me to December. The problem with December is it's connected to that Thanksgiving weekend, and I'm sure that people like to go away. And so bringing the teachers back a day early from that, I think would be harder or more frustrating than not having a day in October. So if those are the options, I would say we go with October 13th.
The other thing I do want to call to your attention, and Mr. Lighty, you had alluded to this too. This day right now, the 23rd, is a half a day for elementary students, and the 24th is a day for parent-teacher conferences. That is also typically the day after the Hanover Halloween Parade. What we are hearing, and Mr. Lighty, you had alluded to this
Yeah,
too,
verified with the JC, the Hanover JC, and the Hanover Mayor.
So what we would like to do, if the board would, this program committee would consider recommending it to the full board, is take the 23rd and the 24th and just move them to the 30th and 31st. So the change would be a half a day on the 30th. The 31st would be the parent-teacher conferences. I did speak with Mrs. Billman on behalf of the elementary principals, and because that date is still within the guidelines of the first trimester, which doesn't end until 11/13, she did not see any disruption or any problem with moving that a week to then better align with the Hanover Parade, as we have always done in the past.
Perfect. I was concerned that it might run into trouble with you getting your parent-teacher conferences in time and everything, but great. So we'll also do that exact same thing reflected on the 26, 27 calendar.
That is correct. In the 26, 27 calendar, it would go, everything advances a day. It would go from the 22nd
29th
and
and
3rd
30th.
to the 29th and 30th.
Yep, great.
And I'll bring that calendar up next and we can just verify that with everyone. So what we're recommending, then obviously if we take this day and make it the in-link crew day, then this 13th would then change to an in-service day. The first day of school would be the 19th for K to 12, and 23, 24 would move in October to 30, 31.
And if I'm not mistaken, the actual current calendar that we approved has the 19th as the start day.
That is correct.
This was what was shown to us as a proposal that we're now changing back. So
Correct.
honestly, we don't even need to touch the day. We don't need to change that.
The calendar that's existing
Yeah,
now.
yeah, the current calendar has
We-
it starting the 19th. The only thing we need to change is the holiday.
Well, we will have to change because the semester in the other calendar ended on the 16th. So
Oh,
this
okay.
calendar bumps
Does make
everything
some
back
other
and then it
changes.
makes each
see.
semester equal.
Yep, okay.
Thank you, Dr. Burkhart, for that revised calendar plan. Mr. Gelsinger?
I think it's a great plan. I think you're never going to make every single person happy, no matter what we do. And I appreciate Dr. Burkhart's flexibility of hearing everybody out. The only one thing I would say for future calendars, the one thing I've heard from feedback from teachers, and I'm not saying get down this rabbit hole for these calendars, but during the comprehensive planning, some of the teachers, as well as even some of the students we have, I think there's a lot of feelings out there that all these half days, we're not accomplishing as much as what we think we are. So even the teacher said during the comprehensive planning that they struggle flipping a switch going from teaching kids half the day to doing in-service the other half day. So if there's a way that in future calendars, not on this one,
Yeah.
that we can really evaluate the number of half days we're doing.
Okay, fair enough. Are you guys okay if I take it to 26, 27?
Sure.
And I do want to reiterate that these changes were made. I appreciate that. It was brought to the attention that the semesters were uneven. I appreciate you making some adjustments to it. And like Mr. Gelsinger said, we're not going to make everybody happy. But I think we've made some good strides in making this better for everybody. I appreciate it.
Sure. So this calendar, because we're modifying it, the other calendar, we modified one that is existing. This one, you'll see here that Mr. Gelsinger, I think Mr. Lighty, you had made this point. This next year, we don't start until the 18th. So the 17th that can already be used for a Link Crew Day. You'll see the difference here is that next in 26, 27, the in-service days go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that gives them the Monday off. Now, over here, what we had said earlier was these are the 2 days that we would propose moving to the 29th and 30th. And to your point, Mr. Gelsinger, we could, even if this calendar is adopted at the next meeting, we can always go back and look at these days and consider, well, these 2 days right here, 6 and 7, they use for high school exams and grading. So those 2 days will remain. But the in-service days, I believe that you're speaking about, that happen about once a month, except in front of the December break and the November break, we can look at changing those away from in-service day. But that conversation we can have. That modification would not change the days of this calendar. It just might change the dismissal times. But truly, this one here already eliminates that issue with Link Crew on the 17th. And then the other issue that we would face is moving the 22nd and 23rd to the 29th and 30th to align with the calendar, align with the parade that would be in Hanover.
And we're not short teachers' days on this, so we don't need to take their October
No.
from them on this calendar.
Correct. Everything, really the only thing that changes on this calendar, what to recommend to the full board is 22, 23 goes to 29, 30 in October.
Sounds good.
Any questions on that one?
So the only thing obviously, we're gonna get some negative feedback for taking Columbus Day away this year. The one thing, is there limitations of how many teachers can be out for sick days or personal days for any specific day?
So on an in-service day, obviously if a teacher's sick, they're sick. If they request a personal day, it has to be for what's called a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. An example is what would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? It might be some of our teachers are getting married, so that's obviously a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Another example might be that a parent's 50th anniversary is taking place overseas and they're going to travel. That's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So something that moving their kids into college for the first time as a freshman, that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And sometimes you'll see those requests on the beginning of school days. And obviously we grant those. Attending a birthday party for a friend that's out of town, that's not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
But if a teacher wants to take off next year for Columbus Day, obviously they have options to do it through the proper channels.
That's correct. They would work with their principal, and then that principal would work with us here.
And then briefly, the only other thing would be for the high school teacher, since they would have the option of coming in on Link Crew Day. Last year we approved, because I think I actually came to the board, that they were able to take that Thursday off before Thanksgiving. So do we need to coordinate with the approval of this?
They
Or
would
Tuesday, I'm sorry.
That would be the Tuesday. Yeah, you're correct. That would come after, if they came in for Link Crew Day, they'd work with Dr. Downs and then he would bring that list to us.
Okay, so you don't need board approval for that. That's all in-house.
That's in-house, yeah, because it's a release time for coverage or half day. Obviously, we would make you aware of it.
Okay.
But at the same time, that they've met their contractual obligation, they just met it at a different time for that half day.
All right. I support both of the plans that you briefed for both of yours calendars.
Is this committee okay if we update these calendars and add them to Monday's committee of the whole? Or would you prefer to hold it till Wednesday?
You can do. Might as well get it out of the way on Monday. Yeah, get it done as soon as possible.
Okay.
You can get it adjusted by then.
Okay, we will have it on the agenda. I'll work with Mr. Bull after the meeting to make sure they're updated.
I say it only takes, you'll have them on the agenda by Sunday, so.
Oh, absolutely. He'll have them on the agenda by today.
Good, okay.
So there are no other agenda items. There are no visitors. Does anyone have, for the good of the order, comments?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
And this program committee meeting is adjourned.
Yep. And there. Well, you want to grab my tickets first?
20 minutes for him to make it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad it was that easy to sort out. I know, like I said, I appreciate you making the adjustment.